Welcome to another edition of our weekly news show, The Build Report, sponsored by the health and safety experts Havio. Now, being August and the fact that everyone's on their holidays, please bear with us because there's not a huge amount of news. So we've scoured the internet, spoken to lots of media outlets, and we have come together to produce these stories which we hope are of interest to you. Our first news story centres around late payments. In the Court of Appeal, a South East Housing Association has had the outcome of the initial hearing reversed over repeated late payments to a contractor. The court reversed a previous judgment in a dispute between Hexagon and Providence. Hexagon, a mid-sized association with a stock of about 4,500 homes, hired West Sussex-based Providence Building Services Limited back in 2019 on a £7.2 million contract to build a development of 37 flats in Purley. It's been reported that the key issue was whether Providence could terminate its contract after Hexagon failed to pay an invoice on time, even though Hexagon had paid up within 28 days of receiving a previous default notice. The Build Network UK can't quantify this, but we've been told by a source that Hexagon was late with 19 out of 28 payments. At the centre of this was a JCT contract. So, does this mean the JCT contract is fit for purpose? Do we need a brand new contract written now, not 20 years ago? A lot's changed in 2 decades, certainly in construction. In my opinion, these late or non-payments in the construction industry are hardly one-offs. It's not a flash-in-the-pan news story as a one-off incident. So I'm pleased that this has reached the construction media, as it is yet more evidence as how, as an industry, we need to sort out these payment terms and contracts, prevent bad debts, because more and more firms are going into administration. As we all know, it's the poor supply chain that ends up being affected. I spoke with Matt Clark, director at CES M&E Services, and this is his viewpoint. These late payments are a day-to-day occurrence in the industry, and it's not new that this has been common practice for more than the 20 years I've been in the industry. Subcontractors should also use the contract in their favour when the need arises, be it non or late payment, like in this case. Providence has merely used the contract to protect their business, cash flow, and that of their supply chain, and they have a right to do so. Continued late payment causes a cash flow nightmare throughout the supply chain, from subcontractors to manufacturers to material suppliers. If more subcontractors use the contracts wisely, then clients and main contractors would be more wary of paying their subcontractors late or not at all, and payments should improve. The British Safety Council announced the UK government is exploring options for giving workers the right to switch off and not to respond to calls and emails from employers outside their contracted hours. I believe this should have been in place years ago, but it is good to see government considering this. I know of companies and even charities that expect you to respond to emails or calls no matter what the time of day or night. One former member of staff who worked at a charity used to receive emails at all hours, and the demand was they were sent back immediately. The mental health focused charity forced her to resign due to ill health. This has to stop. So I fully support this concept and hope it's actioned as soon as possible. Keltbray has sold its infrastructure business to international investor EMK Capital, a private equity company. So why on earth am I reporting on this? Well, it's simple. Private equity companies buy companies to make money. And a lot of their forecasts, financials, etc. are done on spreadsheets by accountants. And this, in my opinion, doesn't bode well for the well-being and mental health of the workers, as mental health investment does not produce a return on a spreadsheet. So that means more pressure and stress to hit deadlines, budgets, etc. and will result in more time off work and worsening mental health, in my opinion. I've said time and time again, workers' mental health and well-being have to be prioritised. If one company puts its head above the water and actively puts this as a priority, I believe the rest will follow. So if you want to make a difference as a company, please get in touch with us here at the Build Network UK, as we would love to work with you. info@thebuildnetworkuk.com. In other news, could retrofit be the answer to the new homes target set by government? With the millions of homes either completely empty or in a total state of disrepair, surely it would make sense to look at this as a possible solution. Trustmark, one of the Build Network UK's partners, has been working hard on this with government ministers and industry leaders. As you can imagine, there's quite a few obstacles to overcome before this can even be seriously considered, but I do believe this can be a strong option to help towards the new homes target. Watch this space on this as we're working closely together on a few things in the background. Finally, one to follow this week, it's a QS called Tim Phillips from South Wales. Tim has worked in the industry for 30 years and even started as an apprentice chippy. So time served on his chop saw, skill saw. He is now an excellent QS and is now increasingly working more in the media. His main area of work is producing early cost plans for individual clients, architects and builders, along with bills of quantities and schedule of works. So if you want to learn from and follow a brilliant QS, you can find Tim at www.quantiv.uk. That's quantiv.uk.